Are you tired of jerky zoom movements when you're trying to pull those fast zooms, where the autofocus lock is, well, not consistent? Or what about when you're trying to slow the focus response to avoid breaking lock, but are unable to respond to sudden subject changes? Well, in Canon patent application JP 2024-07-2121, filed on November the 15th, 2022, and published recently on May the 27th, 2024, Canon claims to provide zoom control technique corresponding to photographing target size and a detection limit size of the object or subject. At first glance, the problem statement that Canon's trying to solve with this patent application seems vague at best. It really doesn't seem like it's, well, newsworthy. But it is. You see, the patent describes a sophisticated method for automatically adjusting the zoom speed of a camera to ensure that the object being photographed or subject remains properly framed and detectable, regardless of it changing size or distance from the camera. This will result in smoother, more consistent zooming, enhancing the quality of the captured images or videos, ensuring that the subject or object is properly framed and focused. Well, that's a major part of our workflow. If you fail to accomplish this, then nothing else really matters. The only question is, how does Canon go about solving this problem? Well, the information processing apparatus's detection unit detects an object or subject and determines the speed at which the imaging unit's angle of view should change according to the size of the tracked subject or object. The control unit then adjusts the angle of view at the speed it determines to provide consistent zooming. The apparatus can also detect and perform the function for smaller subjects. The determination unit adjusts the speed so the angle of view doesn't change when the detected subject size falls within a specified range based on the target size. If the difference between the detected subject and the end of this range is smaller than the predetermined value, the system adjusts the subject size corresponding to the range to ensure this difference is equal to or greater than the predetermined value. I really like the second part of this explanation. Currently right now, I'm shooting with a Canon EOS R5. It's mounted on a tripod with the 50mm f1.2. And I've got a Ninja on top of it, which is great because I can see this really large screen instead of the small LCD, which can't flip all the way out. So as far as the distance, I would say right now the distance between myself and the sensor is probably somewhere between 6 and 7 feet. Now with this particular setup, with this lens, with the Canon EOS R5 with the latest firmware update, when I start to move myself, my eyes, about 8 feet or more away from where the sensor is, the image plane, well, something happens that's rather unwanted. What starts to happen is right now, and I'd say for around 1,300 videos that I've shot on this channel with the R5, the autofocus is really good. It's always on autofocus eye detection, and rarely, if ever, do you see it having any problems. However, at times where I decide to move my set around, I actually move the tripod back a little bit further, and right around 8 feet, that's when it has trouble maintaining an accurate lock. It'll sometimes it'll sometimes hunt, it'll sometimes pulse. It's not consistent, it's not reliable. And the autofocus system is really important here. In the present embodiment, it is assumed that the subject is a person, and the person is recognized and identified by the face. And in addition to the face, a person may be identified based on their clothes, height, and body shape. Depending on the determination target, the detection limit may be determined based on the magnitude of the value of the height of the subject region, or the ratio between the width and the height. Canon patent filing JP 072121 describes a rather sophisticated method of controlling the zooming of the camera to ensure that the subject being photographed remains properly framed and detectable, regardless of the changes in its size or distance from the camera. This results in smoother and more consistent zooming, enhancing the quality of the captured images and videos. And that's where I really like this patent application, because it addresses several problems, that being one of them, which not just affects video but photos as well. Whether the subject is making up majority of the frame or the subject is further away, it's better able to lock onto it. But the other thing that I found very, very interesting is that when you're tracking your subject, and this is in combination with other patent applications we've seen where we have AI-enhanced autofocus, this is where things start to get powerful here. Now imagine you're tracking a subject, you're tracking the NBA, or you're tracking, let's bring this down to earth a little bit more, you're tracking your kid in karate or some other sporting event. You've been able to lock onto your child because you've got eye autofocus, but now as things are moving around and things are happening rather quickly, the autofocus is pulling smoothly. Where it needs to, it tracks onto the subject and nails it and holds it. And if the subject moves fast, it's able to respond as well. And this is a big deal. For me right now, if I'm tracking my son doing karate, for example, the default setup on the camera is to very rapidly change focus, because if something doesn't work out, that's fine. I'll delete that and that part of the clip, and then I'll take the next clip because it's quick to focus. I'm going to have less problems editing later on, which is why I don't have a lot of pulls in my focus. The other option is to make it so it takes a long time to change the focus. So if, again, in karate, my son's there and somebody else goes in front, briefly, it's not going to break the lock. However, if my son changes his position or distance between the image plane of the camera or the sensor to him, what happens? Well, he becomes out of focus. And so that's why this patent application, along with all the other patent applications we've seen that improve subject tracking, and what we're now seeing with the Canon EOS R1 advertised as AI-enhanced subject tracking, that this is a big deal, this patent application. When I first started reading the problem, I thought, you know, this doesn't sound, as Shania would say, this don't impress me much. But I knew enough looking at patent applications that I should keep reading. And as I did, I became really impressed. So the big question is, can we expect to see the outcomes of this patent application, the solution, in upcoming cameras such as the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, the Canon EOS R1? And I'd say a definite yes. For all the high-end cameras, I expect this to come out. Now, for other cameras that use the phase detect autofocus system or Canon's dual pixel autofocus system, I'm not sure about that. The rumors are, and the latest rumors are seeming to validate that the R1 does have 24 megapixel stacked backside illuminated quad pixel autofocus system. That doesn't mean we're going to see that same autofocus system in other cameras. They might still be doing dual pixel autofocus. We'll just have to wait and see. Definitely the high end, but as far as trickling down to the low end, it's hard to say. Now, one thing is sure, when we look at Canon's past cameras, that basically their dual pixel autofocus system from the very high end all the way down to almost the very low end is consistent. There are times where Canon plays around and decides to put in a contrast detect autofocus system, and we all hate it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So I do expect this to percolate down to other cameras such as the R5 Mark II, the R7, the R10, but the R100, I'm not so sure about that one. But now it's time to turn our attention to deals of the week, highlighting big discounts on used Canon RF lenses. The Canon RF 70 to 200 mm f2.8 is normally $27.99, but on sale for $24.99, saving you $300, but you can get a bigger discount getting the lens for $23.49 if you're interested in buying a used one. It's rated excellent, and the 70 to 200 f4, well, it can be had for $14.02, and it's rated excellent plus. And whenever you're buying used, whether you're buying it from Adorama or Amazon.com or B&H, the one thing you want to pay very careful attention to is the rating that the company provides. Now, in this case, when buying from Adorama, if it's excellent, that would be the bare minimum that I would purchase anything from. Or on B&H, it would be an 8+. However, if you're not buying from these sources, be very careful. At the very least, what you'd want to do, if you're buying from a local camera store, take your camera body with you, test it out, see what guarantees are provided. But if you can verify the source of the lens, who used it, how it was used, well, you could be saving yourself some significant money. The Canon RF 600mm prime f4, it's normally $12,999, but can be had for $8,099, saving you $5,000 if you're willing to buy used. And some of these used deals, they don't last very long. So if you're interested in purchasing them, I've already got the links in the description down below. If you do use these links, however, you should be aware that I could earn anywhere from 3 to 12% back as a commission. By using these links, you don't have to enter in any codes, fill out any extra forms. It takes you directly to the website where you can see the lens, you can put it in your cart, and you can check out using their normal processes. You get the benefit of saving yourself a ton of money, and you also get the benefit of supporting this channel without spending any extra money yourself. It's a pretty good system. I do want to talk about buying used gear. Most of the times for this channel I buy new, but in the past I have bought used gear, especially when I didn't have this as a business. I think I remember the first lens I ever bought used was the Canon EF 100 to 400 millimeter. I got a really good deal on it, and I loved the lens, and then when I went to sell it later on, I got most of my money back. And that's one of the benefits of buying used. If you get a really good price on it, if you just hold it for a year or 2 years or however long it is, and then you go ahead and sell it, the small amount of money you've lost is, well, usually equal to at least 1 or maybe 2 rental sessions. So I think it's a pretty good way to go. You just have to find a source that you can trust. Adorama and B&H are 2 sources that I have in this video. And again, watch the ratings. If it's excellent or excellent plus or higher, go with Adorama. If it's on B&H, I would go with at least an 8+. I wouldn't really touch anything lower. Now, what you will see sometimes is you'll see a lens and it'll say for parts, and that's another option as well if you're looking at a lens for parts. I want to say thank you so much for everybody that has used my affiliate links in the past. It's very much appreciated. You're one of the reasons why I'm able to grow this channel. But there is an awful lot of information coming out. We're about ready to tick over into June. And with the rumored announcement, full-blown announcement for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, as well as the Canon EOS R1, it won't be long before we'll be able to pre-order these cameras. So I'd start to expect, as I predicted last week, we'd start to get leaked specifications for the Canon EOS R1, which blew up on the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to get Canon EOS R5 Mark II specifications very, very soon. Canon rumors did say that we were going to get an announcement before the end of May. It's Wednesday. At the time of recording, it's now Thursday. So if you're watching this video instead of some sort of news about a development announcement for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, we're probably not going to get anything else this week. We'll have to wait until June, which is Saturday. But I wouldn't expect Canon to announce anything on a Saturday. If we don't have anything in the next couple of weeks as far as a development announcement, we're just going to have to wait for a full-blown announcement. So you probably want to subscribe, choose all notifications, follow me on X, because as soon as I hear anything, leaked specs regarding the Canon EOS R5 Mark II that are credible, I'll be sure to let you know. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. Have yourself a great day, a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.